it down. Beauty of these masks is they actually have clips. So you can clip one side. Take that. Start from the bottom, go to the top, adjust the top here. It's got a nose piece that will adjust and slide depending on how wide their forehead is. Get it settled on there nice and comfortably, wrap from the top to the bottom. The little guy here is not
compliant. He's not compliant at all.
Snap one side only. Adjust the cap that fits the head. Once you do that, it's Velcro. Clip it in here, and then cinch from this side. Check for your leak. Okay? This has a PEEP valve, so we have some idea of how much pressures we're going in. It will go in like this. Automatically, it's a swivel, so no matter which way they move their head, it's not gonna pull off of them. So there was this big thing about, do we get the CPAP with the neb, or do we not get a CPAP with the neb? Because of the change of the protocols, given albuterol with asthmatics, COPD, emphysemas, whether we needed to actually have one to adjust. We're still in talks about that since the protocols have changed, and we are now putting CPAP on asthma patients, as to whether we may just order that and then we'll all have to do another in-service on it anyway. This is your end title. This connects into your monitor. You have to have this ring in order to get your waveforms on this. Hooks in there, hooks in there, hooks. Sorry, y'all. Hooks in there. Okay, like I said, it starts to grow, become Pinocchio. Because then you get another one that you add your nebulizer in. Okay, so what ends up happening is your patient holds it. Ultimately, that's how that's going to work. But when you got to do what you got to do, and you got to get a neb in them. Do you have a neb?
Yeah, we can get one.
Go to the feedback.
Okay, that's with the neb. So they're sitting upright, everything will be in line. You have to have two main sources of oxygen. One to set for your neb if you drop 2 in, 10 liters, only 1, 8 liters, but you still got to run the CPAP itself. So you can only do this inside the house, or inside the truck. You can't do it inside the house. So you got to make your choice. How sick are they? Do they need a neb now, or do they need a CPAP now? And you can always switch it out in the truck. Okay? Does any and all of that make a whole lot of sense? Clear as mud?
And you can add or you can add the capnography under that.
Yeah. Remember the sensor in here, if it gets wet, it doesn't work. You may run into that. It may stop working on you. You got more than enough of these on the truck.
That neb's not gonna, with the neb.
It may stop working.
Yeah.
But it'll get you through at least one. If you do more than one, I would be cautious and say, make sure you double check it if end title is important to you. But it's an option. We haven't had this option up until about 2 months ago. So use it, don't use it. It'll be up to you, ultimately. And as you can see, there we go with Pinocchio nose again.
So with the neb, it doesn't need the adapter though?
With the neb, it does not need the adapter. It'll fit directly in.
And then the adapter comes in.
Does the protocol allow for you not to do inside? You don't have
We've
to.
never had the option with CPAP to do end
So
title.
it's not in the protocol then at this point, you don't have to do it?
No, you don't have to.
No. Jane will love you if you do it. But yeah, it's not a mandatory thing. The reason why I bring that up, and especially the PEEP valve, is this is another CPAP that you guys are going to see. It has taken lots of begging from mine and Ryan's side to be able to get the CPAP. These are the ones that we originally got because we didn't know how often we would be using them. Clearly, very flimsy face shield. You may still see these. I think my frontline truck has 2 of these on it right now. So don't let it, bother you when you see this. Head straps are not near as nice.
Aaron, the one question he just asked was about that adapter. If it was
Which
in the
one?
bag, and it's not.
Which one? This one? This is just loose. We like to just, I've given them out and I've said put them in the bags, but sometimes they haven't made them to the bags. These were just laying around in the shelf. They don't have to be sterile. They're just hanging out in there. If you need a couple, just ask the supervisor for them. We've got bags of them at 510. These are the snap-ins. So you have to kind of fight with them to get them in. It's real easy to over cinch this. Like so, and it also likes to ride down, either down their face or down their back, so you never keep a good seal on their face. It's real easy to squish people's faces. I mean, to the point where you've broken blood vessels around here with these. So just be careful, realize you don't have to cinch them down. A little bit of leak on this is okay because it is so flimsy through here. It'll end up squishing its way flat enough where you should get a good enough seal. You have no way of figuring out PEEP. This is it. You just hit it up to 15 liters, 10, 15 liters, and let it roll. Your patient is what's going to have to tell you whether it works or not, which was another reason why we came up with this. So at least we have some idea if we're actually making any effort or if you need to go ahead and intubate. These go in. White to the face. That's just the straight up way to do it. Pulse ox, a lot of people still do it like this. If you want to add your nib, same deal. And we start the Pinocchio nose again. Okay, I know it seems like a lot, but it's what we got. Hopefully one day we'll go to BiPAP and we won't even have to worry about this. But for now, this is where we're at. And if, worst case scenario, you can always intubate them. But try first. Try hard before you make them smoke plastic. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? Sure?
Is the adapter, if it's in the bag, should it be where the CPAP is, Thomas pack there?
Yep, either in Thomas pack or either up on the shelf in the truck. So once you get used to going through the truck, if it's not in the bag, it'll just be laying on the shelf.
Good? Okay.
Everybody good?
All right. Okay. Now y'all get to come up here and play with it. Practice it. At least once or twice.
And come to the conclusion that you hate these as much as I do.
We all do.
And this one's kind of flat.
All right. So those are the 2 types of CPAP. Like I said, we're in the process of transitioning. As soon as these are used up, they ain't coming back. If Aaron and I have to set the box on fire as it comes off the truck, it'll happen. We're getting rid of them. Okay, we're all going to these. They're cheaper, so it works. So, huh?
Is it weird just to put a CPAP on everybody when they're all gone?
Yeah, well, trust me, I thought about it. we actually thought about
Sure,
that.
have a CPAP.
If we were still on 24s, there's some partners out there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Some of them you would just want to go ahead and give them to. I'm part of the community practice paramedicine thing. There you go. It'll work on a concentrator. Not the greatest, but it'll work. All right.
Get enough pressures.
Yeah. Any other questions for Aaron about this? Trust me, you're not going to find anybody else who doesn't know more about it. So if you got questions, make sure you ask now. I'll give you her cell phone number later. We'll get your home number. So, kidding.
I haven't looked at the
I'm going to
protocol, but
Yeah.
is the Pete, y'all have a
No, you're
spot for it,
going.
whatever y'all want it at?
She's-
As far as the protocol
Yeah,
goes?
actually, on these, they
Oh, wait, no,
have
you are
the
actually.
yellow tag on them.
No,
Okay.
So what's recommended?
yeah, you're not on her shift.
Those don't.
Yeah, you're on
Yeah,
night
those
shift.
are
She's
just-
day shift.
Yeah, those are
Run it up
just,
to whatever's supposed to be.
yeah. You put it at 10. If that helps, great. If it doesn't, bump it up to 12. If it doesn't, bump it up to 15. Keep going until it does. Because you know as well as I do, the ones that we go to, their home settings are 20 over 12.
Yeah,
We're not going to touch them. I mean, we're just not going to touch them.
yeah,
They're better off smoking plastic.
yeah.
So you can use theirs. You can take their home units with you to the hospital. So keep that in mind as well. If you think that they're going to be there for any period of time, their settings are higher on their home units than they are with this. Plug it into the inverter and book it onto the hospital with theirs. You don't necessarily have to use our own equipment.
Cool, so if they're struggling, you say, hey, you got a CPAP machine, grab it and throw it on the throw
Mhm.
Works for me.
Yep. Hospital doesn't have enough to begin with.
Yeah.
So, and they would rather them use and pass their own germs to themselves than to
Cross
use
That's
what
what
they've
fit
got.
better and all that
Yeah.
shit.
And most of the time, patients prefer to have their own.
Mhm.
So if they've got one, take it.
I haven't gotten as far as the protocol yet, but do y'all have orders where if it's like a patient who's never been on CPAP before, sedation, like Ativan or something like that, so they can take it, or if they just can't take it, you just take it off?
You're gonna kind of cross between your respiratory and your behavioral. If you're dealing with that, and it's a CHFer, morphine is already in your protocol for CHF.
Okay.
So usually that takes enough of the edge off and enough of the load off that you don't really end up fighting with them very much.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna go feed my partner now.
Go feed your partner. He is wasting away tonight. See that?
Seriously.